Well, welcome back, Pipers, to the Bass Piper channel. And today we're going to be talking about and continuing our series on bass singing and different things like that about bass singing. And some of these things I'm going to show you today, we're going to be looking at the techniques that you can use and some little fun things you can do by yourself or wherever you're at to practice how to lower your range. And some guys have mentioned, how do you sing as low as you sing? And all this type of thing. Well, we're going to go over some things today that I think will help you. We're just going to have fun, and I'm going to sing a few little ditties and little things. It's good little songs. I'll give you some songs as examples. You can look them up on YouTube, or you can Google them and get the lyrics to the songs. Just type the title of the song and say lyrics on the end of it, and you'll probably be able to get everything you need. But these are going to be some fun little ditties that you can sing. And I found a few songs that has bass runs and little bass features on them that helps you to expand your range as well. But before we get started, I want to thank a new subscriber. I got a new subscriber this morning by the gentleman of the Gentleman Scholar is his name. The Gentleman Scholar. And thank you so much for your sub, brother. And I appreciate that. I tell you, I'm learning about the new way of doing YouTube and how these subscribers work. I go to bed one night and I got this number. I wake up tomorrow morning and I'm missing three. I done fell three subscribers down, not up. And then I work myself back up again, and then it drops another two. So I looked that up and Googled it. I thought maybe it was something wrong with me. And they said a lot of times subscribers will do that. They'll subscribe by accident or whatever and unsubscribe. But YouTube will also clean up your subscriber list if they think there's any scammers and people just lurking just to aggravate you, so to speak, on there. So sometimes if you see your numbers drop, guys, I guess it's not just people unsubscribing. YouTube is in there trying to clean up some things as well, or they've got closed out accounts and things like that. So I guess at night they have a certain time they do all of that. So if you see a fluctuation from one night to the morning, maybe that's the problem. Who knows? But today I want to get into some voice techniques, and this is going to probably be about 30-45 minutes or so, guys. So bear with me. I'm hoping it's not that long, but we'll see what happens. But on voice techniques, I want you to understand with the normal bass range of a man, most music teachers and scholars will sit there and tell you that the normal bass range is from about an E2 on the piano up to an F-sharp 3 on the piano. Now, some of y'all have never taken piano and know how a piano is laid out. A piano starts, the lowest note is an A. The A and B is known as A0 and B0. When you get to double low C or C1, the third note on the piano, you start your numbers. And C will go all the way up to C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And then the next C will be starting your 2 series. And then you go to your 3 series where you'll find your middle C. And then you go to your 4 series and your 5 series, and it goes right on up. So the average bass range, bass singer, will go from a E below middle C, which will be your E2, if you know the numbers, to about an F sharp above middle C, which would be an F sharp 3. So the E below middle C up to the F sharp above middle C is usually the range, and I'm using my cheat notes here so I can stay on course, but it's usually the range that a normal choir bass singer, that type of thing, would run, or an ensemble or whatever. When you start going below the E2 range, if you're in an F2 on down, then you're going to be more of getting into a lower bass range than normal. When you're able to sing in the 1 series, you go into what they call contrabass or extreme low bass singers. And if you want to look somebody up, if you never have and don't know him, J.D. Sumner was an extreme low bass singer. Tim Raleigh, George Jones, Jeff Chapman, all these guys you see in a lot of Southern gospel groups. You got a lot of them that are extreme low bass singers. And on the other flip side, with tenors, your first tenors are just unreal. I mean, there's some that can sing as high as Sandy Patty. Now, believe me, there are some I've heard that, bless their heart, they need to stop on a certain range. We get to a certain range, either on the low end or the high end, where we need to go, let's call it quits. Because I've heard some first tenors that sound like two cats in heat out on the street. They're just scratchy, they're just screaming, it's not good. They want to show off that high tenor, but they needed to stop about 4 notes below that. Same way with the bass singer. You know, you got some bass singers, they want to try to sing off the piano, off the A0. And it's just nothing but a bunch of moaning and groaning, and the subwoofers ain't doing nothing in the sound equipment. So anyway, I just want to give you a range. So if you're in that range, guys, you're a bass singer. The E below middle C, F sharp above middle C will put you in a bass category, okay? Now, let me say this. I'm going to give you a few techniques to how to lower your voice, or how to work on lowering your voice. Grab yourself maybe 3 or 4 notes that you couldn't sing before. Who knows? You might be able to grab an octave. I was able to grab a whole octave when I started, but you got to remember, I've been doing this 45 years. And when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was working hard on, as I said, singing with CDs, different quartets, singing with the bass singers on those songs. I grabbed Gold City and sing with Tim Raleigh and George Johnson with the Cathedrals, JD, all those guys, and sing their bass lines. Once I learned the words to the song and knew how it went, then I could just sing along with Mitch, and keep working. And then, buddy, I was growling and grunting like I told you yesterday, and till eventually I just was able to work out the notes. And you can do it. It's not going to happen overnight, though, guys. So get that upstairs. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to come out singing in 3 days and talk like Barry White, or J.D. Sumner, that type of thing. In fact, you can have a regular, normal voice. I'm more in my upper bass range talking to you right now. But I can also talk to you down here and drop it a little bit and just soften it up, and it brings out more of the bass. You see how it works? You can go up here and you can go down here. So the first thing you got to understand, now some of you guys that inquire, you'll know this, I'm sure you've learned it, but for guys that may not be well musically versed, the first thing you want to do is you want to lie on your back. Find a floor, lie on your back. You go, what in the world am I going to do that for? Because lying on your back is going to teach you how to breathe and sing out of your diaphragm. Your diaphragm, your belly, your diaphragm, not up here in the chest. Most choir directors will teach that. The only way, you cannot sing any other way but through your diaphragm when you're lying flat on your back. You have to sing out of your diaphragm. It's just about impossible. You won't be able to sing out of your chest. If you want to learn the proper way of singing and practice, just lay on your bedroom floor or somewhere in your floor on your house and sing. You'll have to sing out of your diaphragm. A lot of times people don't, when they sing in choirs and stuff, they do a lot of chest breathing. They want to know why they're running out of air. They can't hold notes. Well, the reason why is because you fill up your diaphragm. You don't fill up your chest to sing those notes. So, to lay on your back is one good technique. Practice breathing and learning how to breathe through your stomach, your diaphragm. The second thing, I learned this from Tim Raleigh, and that is knowing how to, you have different registers in your body that produce sounds and notes. You have your head notes, you have your mask notes, and then you have your chest notes. And, excuse me, fellas and gals, nothing like a burp coming in the middle of your presentation. But in fact, that may help you too, guys, sing a low note. Just burp it out. You'll be fine. But you have head notes and you have mask notes. Let me give you an example. If you want to know how a mask note sounds, say the word and practice the word green. If you go green, 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 you feel it all up in here, green. You'll feel it up in your mask, right here in your mask, your focal point. You have 6 sinuses. They tell me you have one here, and one down here, and you got 3 on both sides. 6 passages of sinuses. Now, what I'm going to say to you guys will gross some of you out probably, or especially if your lady hears this. But when you're taking that nice hot shower and you know you've got to sing somewhere or you just want to practice, make sure you clear out your sinuses. Now, the best way to do it is get that shower hot, let them sinuses get all runny and drippy. Take that side of your nose and just blow it out. Take the other side. Zing it out. Now, you don't have to be hard. You want to clean those sinuses out because you don't want the drainage and the mess in your throat. Worst thing for a bass singer is a bunch of drainage. You're talking about clogging up a low note. So, but now listen, don't blow so hard, guys, that you're blowing your sinuses out on your hot and cold knobs. You know, you want to keep your sinuses in your head, in your face. Don't have them dangling out there by the knob. You don't have to blow it that hard. But just give it a good sniff, just blow it. Just like you'd go outside in your yard and blow sometimes. Some of you country boys, you know how that works. And so blow it out, clean those sinuses out, then blow your nose real good and clean it out. To clean out those sinuses so that you can get rid of that stuff. And all that phlegm and all that mess to go sing, especially if you've got a performance to do. Do your mow-mows. What in the world is a mow-mow? You remember the old Oak Ridge Boys song on Elvira? You know, they used to have that song, giddy up, boom bop, mow mow. Okay. If it's a mow mow, what you want to do in bass, and I'm going to tell you something, the shower is a great place to practice, especially if it's fiberglass or you've got enough hollowness up in the ceiling to give you a little bit of echo. Because when you start learning those low notes, man, that wall acts like a subwoofer. It gives you that booming bass, guys. And so do your mow-mows. And all that is just going to mow, 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 mow. Mow, 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 mow. Go as low as you can. Take it on down. Mow. You might just be a mow, 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 mow. Keep working on it. Mow, 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 mow. Now you might get to it where it goes mow, mow, mow. And that ain't good, right? But the more you practice it, the more you're going to gain your notes. Mow, 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 mow. Mow, 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 mow. My voice is clammed up a little bit today, so I'm not getting the cut like I want on my lower notes. I got some water here sitting on the side to help me, but I've been talking a lot before the video this morning, and that's kind of affected it as well. But to give you an idea, do your mow-mows every day. When you get somewhere, in your car, driving, whatever, just practice mow-mow. Old Tracy Stuffle, bass singer for the Perrys. Tim Raleigh taught him that technique, and I learned it from Tracy. And Libby, bless her heart, she said he drove me up the wall on the bus and everywhere we went. He'd keep going around, mow, 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 mow. Green, 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 mow, 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 mow. And then singing the high register, and then keep lowering his, and keep working it and working it. But these techniques sound funny when you have to do them. But if you just keep working on those are fun little practice techniques, and keep going. Now, if you have a piano at the house, or if you don't, just download one I'm going to show you in a minute on an app. You're going to be able to hear it because I'm going to give you some examples. But just download a piano app. One of those cheap ones that don't cost you much or anything. You may have to deal with the ads and all that. But get you something to work your notes. Now, let me give you an example. I'm going to try to show you something real quick with I got to have my Bluetooth speaker in here so you can hear it. But I'm going to go over here to this app piano, and I'm going to find an F1. An F1, and then, an F2, and then we're going to take it to an F1, okay? So if we have an F2, all right, and here's your F1. So you can do octave drops in practice. You can go, sorry, mow, 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 mow. That's where you're at right there. Mow, F. That is an F2. Mow, mow. You got to mow, mow, mow. So you got a mow, 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 mow. All you're going to do is you're going to drop it. Try drop an octave. But you're not going to start off that drastic, guys. If you got let's just say, let's go on up the piano a little bit. And let's just go with there's a middle C. Me, me, me. Just go right on down, whole steps, not half, just whole. Me, me, me. F2 is right there. Me, me, me. That's a C2 right there, low C. Now, what you're going to do, say if you go, well, an E is as low as I can go. La, la, la. Go to the next one. Now you might be going, you know, you can't, that's all right. Stop right there because you know that's the note you need to start on working. So if you're right here, now your next note's going to be a D in the D2 range, C. Now you might say, well, wait, I can go down to a C2. Okay, that's where we stopped. The next one, you're going into extreme bass range. It's a B1. That's your one category. Now you're going into extreme. You're starting to get into the extremes. Most guys can't sing these notes. Okay, most bass singers. There's a lot of bass singers singing professionally. They're higher basses. They can't sing in the extreme. So don't think that every bass singer singing Southern gospel is an extremist. They're not. So if you go to C2, that's an F1. That's an E that I just landed on, okay? And then you got two more before you hit the JD number. Right there. So you're into C1, that's a double low C. Now, my throat ain't hitting it all on today, but I'm trying to give you some techniques to use. Now, you can go whole steps, or you can even start, if you say you're at an F1, let's say, or an F2, there's your F2, there's your E, and then you can do your half steps. Just go a little half step at a time. So if you're up here, E3, E flat, your D, just take them half steps. You're going to have to practice this on a daily basis as much as you can. It don't have to be every day, but at least 3 or 4 times a week, because anything, as the old saying is, if you don't use it, guys, you're going to lose it. And especially when you're trying to expand your range. Now, let me say this. If you're a lead or a tenor, you can do the same thing, just go the other way. Hit the higher notes, octaves, or each whole note, or each half note. Just work on them. Just work on them. And here's what I used to do when I was learning. I would say it a middle C. I'm just going to play with middle C. All right. There's my B. There's my B flat. There's my A. So let's just say you're between B and B flat. You're still, all you do is just keep, go back. Just rock it. Just rock it back and forth. Keep working that range. Find out on the piano how low you can go, natural voice, just where you're at, that you can sing a clean note. If the next note is a little rocky and rusty, that's where you want to start. Hey, even if you get 2 or 3 notes lower, okay, that's better than where you were. And here's the thing. We got to push our egos aside, especially bass singers. Okay, I've had young men come up to me and we'd be singing a concert or doing a concert after a concert, shaking hands and working the CD table and that kind of thing. Man, how do you sing those low notes, man? How do you get that low? I've had singers, bass singers singing with other groups going, well, man, how do you get that low? Well, after I tell them, then they understand. But like I told you yesterday, I wasn't a natural born bass singer. In other words, when I went through voice change, it didn't go from here to here. No, it didn't work that way. I was a lead singer range, probably in a C, at a middle C, probably up to about an E above middle C, down to maybe an F2, somewhere in that. Excuse me, maybe a G2. Everything that I'm now in the one range is, I practiced and worked. I had to get my vocals trained and stretch them out, strengthen up the vocal cords, because you know vocal cords are nothing but muscles. Stronger you can make them, the lower you can sing. Now, you see a lot of bass singers, what are they doing? Smoking them cigarettes. Because it's a medical fact that over the years and time, smoking cigarettes will also change your larynx. More phlegm, inflammation, stuff like that gives you that raspy, growly bass. Lowers your voice. The only problem is I think you can do it more naturally than fag cigarettes for 3 years to try to get the same thing that in a couple of years you can just do it naturally. Keep your pipe. Don't worry about cigarettes. But a lot of bass singers, I've seen them after, man, they'll be hanging out behind the bus or whatever between concerts. Man, they're going to town on them cigarettes. And you ever listen to some of these guys that have smoked many years, they got that gravelly, and lower bass. From cigarettes, mainly. It's not from pipes. It's from cigarettes, for the majority of them. So a healthier way, guys, we was talking about health the other day. The healthier way is do it naturally. These are just some little tips that I'm just throwing out that I've learned, I've picked up from legendary bass singers of just practicing and practicing. The biggest thing is get you a piano and just work your notes. Do your mows. Your mows are more down here in your chest and in the lower cavity there, and get it and put it out. Now, here's something you need to understand as well. It's not, as I said, going to happen overnight, but you should be able to get at least 2 to 4 notes lower than where you're at now if you just practice these techniques. Now, genetics play a big part too. I mean, you're only going to go as low as you're going to go. I've trained myself to go to a double low C because I wanted to hit JD's notes on Way Down, Cliff. I know you saw this video, and I'll play it for you guys here in a minute, that song Way Down. But let me give you a couple of songs that's fun to sing. Also, before I do that, understand this. We'll talk about this tomorrow when we talk about sound equipment and mics. The lower you go, guys, the softer your volume's going to be. And the softer you can sing the note, the better off you're going to be, especially with a sound system and a microphone. Don't try to push it. One of the things, and I'll just share this little tidbit. I was going to save it for tomorrow, but I'll mention it tomorrow again. One of the biggest things that you got to understand singing in a quartet or any group, and the group's got to understand, the trio is your lead, your tenor, and your baritone. Bass singer, we're on our own island. We're on our separate little island over here. And you got to understand that when you're singing with a soundtrack, for example, or piano and instruments, you got to remember most of the time bass singers are singing a couple of octaves below the trio. They're up in the rafters and the clouds. And they're doing that big wah, big ending on something, and you got this big orchestra, boom, 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 boom. Timpanis are going, and here you are doing a bass slide. You want to do that, wah, and you're trying to bring it on down the cascade over top to bring that big ending down. The only problem is if your sound equipment stuff's not right, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, what the audience hears and what these guys don't remember with the audience, with the music and them being octaves above you, and you've got your floor monitors in front of you, and they're blaring and blasting. If you're not set right, all the audience is going to hear, especially out in the house if you're not set right. And we'll talk about that, like I said, tomorrow. All they're going to hear is they're going to see this. They've lost you. They're going to see your mouth open, or you eating that mic and nothing coming out. Because the trio and the music is over top and running you, is running you out, man. They're blowing you out. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But understand, the lower you go, the softer your voice is going to get. You can't belt out a C1, believe me, a E1 or an F1 like you're going to belt out an F2 or an F3. Try it. If you can hit middle C, project out. Ah! Big difference. Then when you're sitting there trying to grunt and groan on a, you can hit the notes. You got to be able to hit the notes. But that's where I'll show you where sound equipment helps the bass singer, okay? That's tomorrow. But let me give you a couple of songs here. Let me see if I can do a couple of them, if I can remember all the words. Let me give them to you first, and then you can look them up. I'll give you the titles. One is Everybody's Gonna Have Religion in Glory. And oh, Stamps Baxter, Statesman Quartet type music way back in the day. But they still sing them today for fun. Everybody's going to have religion in glory. What a morning. You've probably heard that. What a morning, what a day, when he calls me home to stay. No more sorrow, grief, no woe, for my Jesus said that I could go to my home beyond the starry sky. Take that song and then drop it some. Well, what a morning, what a day, when he takes me home to stay. No more sorrow, grief, no woe, for my Jesus said that I couldn't go to my home beyond the starry sky. Just keep going right on down. Just practice it. Little ditties, because they're bass runs. And people love them. The Southern Gospel audience loves those little 50s doo-wop ditty type things. You throw the bass singer in there. Buddy, you're hooked up to a nice mic, nice subs that are kicking, buddy. When you get in those low ranges, man, the women go crazy, guys, for bass singers. Okay? Now, of course, most of your Southern Gospel fans, bless their heart, they wear Depends, so you won't have anything thrown up on the stage for you, all right? But they're just the age they're in, okay? So, but they love the bookends in a quartet. The tenor that can sing high like his head's ready to pop off, and the bass singer that can go all the way down to Poltergeist, you know, into the basement and down under the earth. They love those subs rattling, all right? And I'll show you all about that tomorrow, okay? You still got to be able to, a lot of people go, well, if it wasn't for them subwoofers, he couldn't sing that low. You got to be able to hit the notes. Okay, it's not the subwoofer. You still got to be able to hit the notes. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Farther Along is another one by Gold City. Tim Riley's last CD before he retired. Tim Riley, I'll go into some of that later, but Tim Riley ended up having a stroke, and he had to come off the road and finally retire. He's fine. He's got all of his faculties and everything, but I'll explain that on my last video when I was called as a reservist to sing with Gold City. But we'll go over that, the fourth video down. But anyway, the last hymn CD that he was on was the hymn CD. I think they call it the hymn CD. Chip Pullen was the lead. Robert Fulton was the tenor. Danny Riley was the baritone, and Tim was the bass. Great song. They did an old rendition of Farther Along, but they changed it up, which is neat. And the first note Tim hits, he's by himself. They do a little guitar strum, and Tim comes in. That's an A1, guys. That's an A1. When he comes in with that, let me see if I can hit over here on get the right one here. Let me get on my digital piano here. Let me see if I can get it. Farther along, we will know. He sings all of that in there. Listen to that song, Farther Along by Gold City. You should be able to download that on iTunes and have the whole song. Here's another one. Walk That Lonesome Road by J.D. Sumner and Stamps. You can find it. That's the one that I was telling you was on the video. If you went to the Master's Hand Quartet and saw the little rendition we did, it was that range, that key I couldn't find. I called Randy. I got in touch with Randy Strickland, who used to sing tenor with JD before he dissolved everything. He passed on. The last quartet members he had. Ricky Strickland was a tenor, good tenor. And he sent a copy of what they did. The problem was it was stacked in the studio with them on it, and it was a higher key. The one you'll hear once you download it off of iTunes, will be the lower version, okay? And that's the one they had me do when I was in concerts, as that little skit I was telling you about. But farther along, Walk That Lonesome Road, Everybody's Going to Have Religion in Glory, What a Morning, What a Day. Those kinds of songs are just fun songs to practice when you're doing your songs, because they feature the bass singer. And they give you some, and the more you can drop it, go to your, sing that little chorus through. Everybody's going to have religion in glory. Everybody's going to be telling that story. Higher bass, right? Everybody's going to have religion in glory. Everybody's going to be singing that story. Everybody's going to have a wonderful time up there. Well, glory, hallelujah, you better be. So go, brother, he's a reckoning coming in the morning. You better get ready, because I'm giving you the warning. Everybody's going to have a wonderful time up there. Everybody's going to have religion. And you just take half steps on down. Keep singing them. Now, some of these notes you'll be spitting and sputtering. That's okay. You're going to do that because you got to work the muscles. You've got to train your voice, and you can do it. Take it slow. Take it easy. Pretty soon you'll be hitting it. About a week or two, you're working on one particular song, and you go, man, I'm starting to hit that note. Yeah. And you take it, you work that note till you get it pretty good, and then go to another half step or a whole step down. Practice. The more you practice, you can expand your range. I told the young guys when they asked me, I said I wasn't a natural bass. I had to train myself to sing bass. That's why a lot of times I sing or talk. I mean, I talk in a higher register sometimes than when you hear me on stage, because I have learned to stretch my range basically almost an octave into the one category on the piano. My lowest note's a double low C. I've lost some of my high. When I used to lead music in churches, I was a minister of music and stuff in churches years ago before I became a pastor, and worked with choirs, ensembles, and all that type of thing. And so singing the hymns, you know, like the song, He Lives. He lives, He lives, Christ Jesus lives today. And you project it out for the audience to hear you. And all, but some of those, you tell me how I know He lives. He lives, all the way up there. I can't get that no more. You heard my voice crack. I can't get that stuff no more. So I'm over there telling pianists, if I got to lead music or the organist, I hope you all can transpose on the fly. Because this song right here, let's bring it down, let's bring it down about, 3 keys so I can sing it. So, but that's how it was. Of course, that was in my 20s and my 30s. But now, that I've been singing bass so much, I haven't been working on the higher. Here's another thing you got to understand, guys. The older we get, God's helped us out for bass singers, the lower your voice gets. Your voice will drop some as you get older versus how it was at 20 years old. So for a bass singer, hey, that's a little extra goodie. Around 45, 55, somewhere in there as we start dropping a little bit. Here's another technique. And I know you guys are going to laugh, probably like going, man, he's lost his mind. If I go into work tomorrow morning and do this, they're all going to laugh at me. One of Tim Raleigh's tips that he used to say to people, he says, once you do your mows and practice, your stair step and all that kind of thing, and clean out your sinuses and all that kind of stuff, he says, learn to speak lower. Instead of speaking up here, speak down here. See the difference? And people are going to look at you like, what? What happened to his voice? Yeah, I'm talking down here because it helps you develop that lower sound and helps with your voice. Just drop your voice a little bit. You don't want to be up here. You don't want to be up here. If you're a bass singer, you want to be down here. And so It's how you're in your reflections and how you can throw your voice a little bit. Now, you don't want to sound like a monster, no. But if you're, whatever your range is, you know, you can always, yeah, 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 and then talk down here. Yeah, 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 talk down here. Whatever you're comfortable with. You see the difference when I hit some certain notes? Whatever you're comfortable with. Whatever you're comfortable with. Like a bunny rabbit. No, we don't. Bass singer, talk down here. Talk down. See, you want to get to the point on your range, guys. You can do, you know, when you come out of that shower and you've practiced and you've, man, you are just, you done hit, you feeling good. You're down 2 or 3 notes in that bass range and all of that. And you can come out of that bathroom and your lady is just, you know, in the bedroom with you or in the living room and watching TV or whatever, wherever she's at. And you can walk up to her, you know, and give her that little look, you know, and throw your Barry White on her, you know. You just kind of get up there close and it's like, how you doing? You like my new voice? Yeah, I do too. Old Lunton Larry? Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a good weekend this weekend, baby. I mean, hey, I'm all man now. I got my voice on. Yeah, I got my game on now. I mean, hey, just throw your pipe in there too. You know what I'm saying? Get in there like that. How you doing? How you doing, sweetheart? Yeah, these techniques that old bass piper told me about, they're working. Yeah. Now, I know I've been doing them for a year, but hey, look how far I've come. I'm messing with you guys. I'm just, hey, but look, man, you know, you got yourself a whole new look, guys. You know what I'm saying? And you're not talking up here no more. You're talking down here now. Yeah, and that's where you sing. Yeah. So these techniques will work. And I'm just messing with you and having fun. But these techniques work. And they worked for me. If they worked for me, a guy that was aspiring to be a bass singer, see how my voice is coming up now? Aspiring to be a bass singer. And they worked for me. If they work for me, they can work for you. And you've already got an edge on me if you're in your 50s or so, because your voice is probably lowered some already anyway. But look, don't let the grunting and the spitting and the choking and the clamming up scare you off. Just keep working. Take it 1 note at a time, guys. Work on it for about a week or 2. Grab some of these songs I've mentioned and play them back. Sing along. Find you some little bass run songs. And then go and just drop it down a little lower. See how, as you learn that note real good, lower it a little more and grab that note. Well, that's about all I've got for right now on this because I want to keep it short. We could go on and on and on and spend 2 and 3 hours on this. But it's hard when you're not here. And trying to do this over a phone and using an app piano right here over the camera, it's hard to get the true sounds and things that I'm trying to portray, but I hope this helps you. And I hope we've had a little fun with this. And listen, just work on these techniques. And look, if you're serious about it and you are wanting to be you're a baritone bass singer, you're in between baritone and bass, or you're a baritone wanting to be a bass, listen, work on these things. Get back with me with a little comment or something, maybe 3-4 months from now. Might be sooner, and just let me know if it's working for you. If you've grabbed 1 or 2 notes lower and you're confident in them and you can hit them. Now, when you're confident, you're hitting this note 98% of the time. Okay, guys? 2%, you got to, I don't care how low you go, you're going to have bass singers have bad days. Especially if you got, a lot of people will say, well, when you have a cold, that's good for a bass singer. Yeah, it depends on how the cold treats you. You can wake up one morning with a down here. And that's a cold. Once the cold goes, so does your voice. But most of the time, if you got a drainage, like any singer, it's going to hinder you, okay? So you're going to have your good days. You may hit it one day and not hit it the other day, but always keep water around. Let me give you another tip about water. If you're going to sing that day, or you keep some on stage with you, keep it room temperature, not ice cold water. A lot of times we'd be in churches and they hand us a nice Cold water, I'm going, oh my goodness, because cold water will clam you up. You want more of that natural, just room temperature water, body temperature, room temperature to drink, okay? So that's another little pointer for you as well. Now, some of you guys, some of these things, here again, I might be going yada, 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 yada. You know all this. That's wonderful. But for some of you guys, you may not know. So I thought I would just pass along some tips that I've learned over the years in learning how to sing bass and singing bass. But the big thing is work that piano, work those notes, half steps, whole steps, octave jumps, those kinds of things. Don't get discouraged. Plan on at least a year. If you hit it sooner, great. But if you don't, you won't get discouraged. Plan on at least a year to give yourself time to stretch your range, whether you're going down or whether you're going up. It works both ways. Now, your mows and stuff like that, you know, you may want to do something. You can do something else. You can do a me or whatever, a my, or whatever you want to say, you know, to work your range. Have something to say. Green, 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 green. Bring it on up as high as you can go. And when you stop at those high notes, try to hit the next note that you're struggling with. That's how you're going to stretch your range a little bit. Now, here's the thing, too. To help in extreme bass range, you got to be somewhat in genetics and be a bass singer. A tenor is not going to work. A tenor is not going to be a bass, okay? Just like a bass ain't going to be a tenor. I don't care how much you try. You're not going to stretch your range that much. But if it gives you 2 to 4 notes or even an octave, guys, I was blessed that I was able to go that far. You may not. So we're all different. But, hey, if you can get to that B1, that's the first one. That's the highest in the 1 scale and the lowest in the 2 scale, coming off the 2. Let's see, B, C, yeah. You get in that B range, or that 1 range, that top of that 1 range, you're in an extreme bass range. So, hey, good luck on that. Work on it. Leave me some comments, good, bad, or ugly. I hope there's no ugly. But good, bad, what your thoughts are. You might have some other pointers that would help me. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all got master's degrees in music and all that kind of stuff. And you got all them sheepskins hanging on the wall that you could give more pointers. Wonderful. Let me know your thoughts on it. But I hope this helps. But hey, let me leave you today with a point to ponder. Let me get my book real quick over here. And by the way, I know the last 2 days I haven't been doing any housekeeping and showing pipes and the tobaccos because I'm trying to do all this to fit this in. I'll get back to that in future videos. But let me leave you with this to think on today. Know that the mind is everything. The mind is everything. Because what you think, you become. The mind is everything. What you think is what you will become. So until tomorrow, we'll do part 3 of bass singing, and we're going to talk about sound equipment and those types of things as a bass singer. Relax, have your pipe, and reflect on the blessings of God in your life. See you, pipers. Till tomorrow.